Welcome to Dunitas Canine, where we are helping you integrate your dog into your life, no matter what your life is like.
Hey folks, this is Adam coming to you from Dunitas Fitness here from Fairbanks, Alaska. Just so you guys can begin to understand what Dunitas Fitness is, we are a program that is developed by Dunitas Canine. You'll see our website coming up here shortly within the next few weeks. We're here to help you get started on your journey toward fitness. As a person who may just want to be in shape, as an athlete who wants to further your experience to a higher degree of a fitness level, or also especially if you're a athlete or a person who is a canine handler or who has a dog as a pet and wants to integrate your dog into your fitness journey for the purpose of building your bond with your dogs or your dog and building the stability in your dog. Integrating dogs into fitness is a great way of doing that. It's unique, it's creative, and you'll see those characteristics of it to come in the near future. So what am I doing right now? Right now I'm going to introduce you to a series of what we call your functional movements. Okay, functional movements are what each workout that we'll be doing at Dunitas Fitness. It's what it's comprised of. Okay, so a functional movement is not just any movement that you do in exercise. Okay, they have specific qualities and characteristics. The general definition of a functional movement is that it translates into realistic activity. Okay, so for example, a movement that, for example, pushing a car. If you have to push a car, that's a movement where you would step back, put your hands on the back of a car, and you push with your legs and your arms. Okay, that movement would be considered functional because your body would naturally do that if you would have to push something. Okay, so we see a characteristic of a functional movement is that it uses collective muscle groups. When you're pushing a car, you would use, like I was just saying, your legs and your arms. Okay, it's natural to do that. So an isolated movement, for example, a bicep curl or a leg extension, those are movements that don't leave the gym. Okay, you go to the gym, you may do them to rip up your muscles, to feel a burn, as people would say. However, that's not going to translate into real life. You're not going to go push a car with just your arm. Okay, you're going to want to use collective muscle groups for the purpose of expressing a unique amount of force that is greater than that of an isolated movement would provide. Okay. Furthermore, functional movements they develop core stabilization, so stabilizing your whole body by your core, which is what's natural to a human body. They're natural to a human body's range of motion. Okay, so it's not going to be outside the boundaries of what your joints want to do naturally. Okay, so the first movement I'm going to conduct here and instruct is a squat. Okay, we're just going to do a typical air squat, so I'm not going to do any kind of weight. Later on, you'll see that I'll be integrating dogs into front squats, back squats, overhead squats, things like that. But for now, I just want to get the logistics of an actual squat down for you to understand. So a couple things we got here. We have squat standards and squat technique. Okay, equally important. The standards of a squat. Okay, you want to have your hips below your knees. Okay, this right here, this is not a squat. My hips are not below the crease of my knees right here. Okay, so what it looks like is bam. My hips right here are below the crease of my knees. Okay, so that is full what we call depth of a squat. All right. Second standard, when I'm doing squats for reps. Okay, I come down. The squat's not finished right here. I must come up and do what's called opening my hips. Okay, so right here my hips are closed. So if I come down, then come up, then come down, that doesn't count. Those aren't reps. I must come down all the way and then bam, open up my hips. Okay, those are essentially the two standards of a squat. Technique is critical to your results and also to lessen the risk and your susceptibility to injury. Okay, you don't want to be doing 100 squats in a workout and just be sloppy on them and not be able to move the next day. You want to be able to preserve your form. Okay, so a couple things we got with technique. First and foremost, your feet, the positioning of your feet. Okay, some people are pigeon-toed. You don't want to squat this way. All right, that can be natural to some people how they walk. However, what you want to do is try to get your toes pointed outward a little bit. It's okay to squat with your toes in front of you. However, that won't translate to doing any kind of weight. So it's good to kind of be used to having your toes pointed out in the outward direction. Okay. Second thing, your knees. What direction do you want your knees going? You'll see a lot of people, especially with heavy weight, they'll tend to have their knees come inside. Okay. So you'll see some people squat like this. If you notice, my knee is now pointing inside, and my ankle, this is what we call a collapsed ankle. Okay, so my ankle is not properly or efficiently supporting my knee and my whole upper body essentially, and because it's collapsed, and you see that all the pressure is on the inside of my ankle, or my heel. What I want to do is I want my whole ankle to, I want my center mass on that center part of my ankle to support my body and my knee and my hip. Okay, so what I'm going to do in order to achieve that is I'm going to flex my hips. Okay, so you have hip flexors right here, and you'll notice that if I flex my hips, bam, my knees come out. Okay, so what I'm going to do is my toes are pointed out a little bit. I flex my hips, my knees come out. Inevitably, my knees are going to go over my toes. Okay, so that's going to prevent a collapsed ankle. So flex your hips, bam, your knees come over your toes. Okay, second, really important factor of technique. Third factor of technique, you want to have a good posterior chain. Okay, so basically, you can picture a chain coming from the middle of my back all the way down to the floor. I want to preserve the strictness of that chain. Okay, so instead of coming down and then just dropping my back like this, I want to keep that back straight and preserve that posterior chain. Okay, and that's going to be even more important to have my hips flexed for this purpose. Okay, so this right here is going to look like a good squat. My butt's dropped, my knees are out with my hips flexed, my toes are out, my back is straight, preserving that posterior chain. As you can see, I have my arms out, and that's going to help me a little bit. I come up, back stays straight, my hips are open, chest stays out, come back down. I'm now doing air squats. Okay? So that's your air squat or your squat. Well, that'll translate to doing back squats, front squats. A couple factors will change. We'll go over that later. Stay tuned for different movements such as pull-ups, presses with barbells, things like that. This is Adam with DFit Fitness, helping you better prepare for everyday life, no matter what your life is like. Have a great day.